Hi everyone, welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. And this week's Parsha is Vaeschanan. So, as we've spoken in the past, Moses is begging to God that God should let him go into the land of Israel. And Hashem eventually says to him, Ravlach, it's enough for you. Al tosef daber elai obedavar hazeh. Don't speak to me again about this matter. Parenthetically, our sages teach us that had he prayed one more time, Hashem would have let him go in. That's the power of prayer. But our sages tell us in the tractate of Sota 13b, it says that a slightly different explanation of what Ravlach means. And Hashem was telling him, your time is up. Ravlach, you already have a master, meaning you have a master, Yehoshua. Yehoshua was his disciple, actually, not his master. But Hashem was telling him, listen, there's another master. He's about to take your place. Your time is up. One king's time can't go into somebody else's time, and your time is up, and he's taking over. Now the question is, it sounds like Hashem is kind of rubbing salt in his wounds. It's like, not only will you not go in, but you have another master. Your time is up. What exactly is Hashem trying to tell him in a way that's supposed to generally encourage him? And the Nesiv Yisrael says a beautiful insight. Hashem was telling him, Ravlach, you have a master, meaning Joshua, that is your disciple. You've raised him up to be the level of master. And when Joshua brings all the Jewish people into Israel, I know why you want to go into Israel. It's because you want to do all the mitzvahs that are there. After all, you're teaching everybody all these things. You certainly want to carry them out. And Hashem is telling Moses that Joshua, your disciple, he's already the master. When people look at Joshua, they will be looking at you as if you will be the one telling them. And Hashem is telling them that everything that Joshua does, it's because you built it. Everything that Joshua teaches, it's because you taught it to Joshua. That is your legacy. And that is the lesson that Hashem is actually giving over to Moses, that we have to take for ourselves. We have to create our legacy. We have to know that our legacy, if you look throughout the Torah, it's so interesting that it was always the youngest child that ended up being the one that promoted the most honor or glory to the family. For example, if we look at Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Abraham, it was his younger son Yitzchak. If you look at Yitzchak, it was his younger son Yaakov. If you look at Yaakov, it was one of his youngest sons, Yosef. And if you look at Yosef, it was again his youngest son Ephraim. And if you look at Rachel and Leah, it was Rachel that was more beloved. And Moses and Aaron, it was Moses, and so on and so forth. So sometimes a person has a child and says, "Oh, this is it." And the Torah is teaching us, no, it might be the next kid, or it might be the next kid. And not only that, it's not only your kids that'll help you create your legacy, because Joshua was not Moses' child. Now, Moses had two children, Gershon and Elazar, and they were both great. But at the end of the day, the most that gleaned from Moses was Joshua. And so therefore, the lesson is you have to create your legacy not only through your children, but there's so many people that you can have an effect on in this world. And that will all be to your credit in any way that you can. And so therefore, we have to work on our legacy and try to reach out and touch whomever we can, not only just to remain focused within our own families, but to reach out and teach and have an effect on whoever we can. You can do it, I can do it, we can all do it. I wanted to share one other idea, but time's a little short. But thank you for listening. Have an amazing Shabbos, and I will talk to you next week. Thank you.